Okay, E-Drive, bring guys our team.
Quick feet PRs.
Oh, thank you, George. Thank you.
Hello, thank you, Adro, for that wonderful introduction. And yes, we are back for the Quick Feet PRs, Season 2. Joined with me today is Agronauts. Say hello, Agronauts. And Slap.
Hello, hello, hello. These are the only
And
PRs that matter.
And we are here to judge these wonderful, wonderful teams that the Quick Feet, all 24 Quick Feet coaches have drafted. And Slap, what do you think of the teams?
They are amazing. Best teams I've ever seen.
Yes, they are absolutely perfect. And this video will only probably take 10 minutes because there are that little flaws within the teams.
Nothing to critique.
Agronauts, what do you have anything to say before we start?
I'd just like to say good luck to all the coaches who have drafted today. And if
Oh,
you're
it's-
unhappy with your rankings, it's not my problem.
I think it's just like the lottery or something.
No winner.
Well, you don't even get anything besides like an ego boost for being the best team or anything.
Sure, an ego boost is
I'm not sure if you get an ego boost from being the best team out of these 24.
Alright. So yeah, like we said, we're gonna try to give like as much like constructive criticism as we think, because obviously no draft's perfect, and we want to help you guys out in terms of not only trying to see what the flaws of your team are, potentially how to pilot it, stuff like that. But yeah, so what's our first team? What is number 24?
At number 24, we have Lucas B, the coach of the Sao Paulo FC. This team is there's a Garchomp. That's a plus.
You should probably list out all the mons on this team for people who are...
Oh, for the deaf people or the blind people in the crowd. Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
the
yes.
blind people.
There's a
just
Garchomp, Latios, Weavile, Savali, Nihilego, Blastoise, Mesprit, Magnezone, Togetic, Chestnut, and Carkol.
Oh yeah, there is a Carkol on this team. I forgot there's a Carkol on this team.
Did you?
Yeah. Well, what I will say about this team is, I think a lot of people look at the first two, Garchomp and Latios, and say, what on earth is the point of this? But I actually do think there is like some validation of getting like double dragon, especially because like dragon resists are like few, like good dragon resists are few and far between in draft league, and if you have Garchomp and Latios being able to wear down each other's checks, then basically the other one can basically just come through and sweep. I think that was just the general idea of this team. The problem is some of the pieces that he tried to use in order to create this team just don't really fit as well, in my opinion. So I'd say like one of the main issues I think is mainly like the defensive core on this team. I think a lot of these mons kind of lack sustain besides like maybe Chestnut or Togekiss. Stuff like Blastoise, Savali, Mesprit, even Magnezone to like a lesser extent can like get like chipped down fairly easily. Despite also having like a dragon team, I think is like fairy resists are just like incredibly weak to ground types. They're both 4 times weak to ground, which can easily be exploited. And that's pretty big when your first 3 mons are in fact weak to fairy. That's basically his main offensive core, more or less.
And the dragon resist being Magnezone, Togetic is also not very. I don't know. They just Magnezone gets worn down too easily.
You can put a Silvally, Fairy, or Steel, but and again you'll be chipped down by hazards all the time and stuff like that. So
I do think Silvally's a good fit in terms of like trying to fit roles for this team, but again it does kind of get chipped down. I think it's going to be pretty difficult for him to sustain, especially when Togetic isn't really all that great of a wish passer, for example. I think the idea isn't bad. It just requires like specific execution. I'm just not sure if his team pulls it off exactly. It's just my issue.
One positive.
I think sorry, go on.
One positive thing it has though is it's got good hazards. It's got T-spikes, spikes, Stealth Rock. It's got a couple good, well, a good spinner in Carkol, and then you got Savali with Defog, Togetic with Defog.
Carkol good spinner. I'd say Blastoise is probably the better spinner.
Wait, did I say? I meant Blastoise and Carkol.
Okay.
Blastoise is the good spinner, and then Carkol, who gets spin but doesn't really want to come to many games.
Yeah, I mean he's got some decent like slow momentum options in Mesprit and Magnezone to get like some of his faster threats in. The speed tiers are like they're pretty solid. Yeah, I just say I think with like maybe a couple slight changes, I think this team could actually be a lot higher, because I think offensively a lot of the teams in Quickly will actually struggle to like deal with double dragon effectively.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just gonna be very matchup dependent. This kind of thing with this team.
The other thing
Do you
is,
think you have to bring? Oh, sorry. You have to bring both dragons, I think, to get the full.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
I
you're
think
not gonna
I think he
get
just has to embrace HO with this team. It's kind of
You
the
have to
thing.
bring both of them and Magnezone, I guess, and then just the last three have to do a lot on their own. But you can
Yeah.
definitely beat a lot of teams with just your 2 dragons.
Yep. Is that everything said?
yeah,
I think so.
Okay, we can move on to number 23, which is Bagel John's team. And he has the Landawai, the Rillaboom, the Rotomosh, Skarmory, Latias, Mega Pidgeot, Deoxys Defense, Granbull, Kangaskhan, Muk, and Wobbuffet. Slap, do you want to start?
well, Lando is a good mon. And especially, it works with Rillaboom, like the ground type move not being... I guess if you want to run physical Landers, then that kind of sucks. But generally, the Earth Power Landers is working well with Rillaboom. They got a good couple defensive mons in Skarm, Rotom Wash. Deoxys Defense is kind of like a blanket check to everything. One big issue, though, is Kangaskhan being the only Ghost Switch in. Like, you don't want to switch in your Pidgeot to a Ghost type. Even
Where
even
is
like
the Dark
Spectre.
type?
Yeah, there's
There,
Granbull.
there are 3 psychics, but there is no dog type.
There's
which I
the Granbull
find
is the
that to be
dark
an
switch
interesting
in.
choice. Yeah, the Granbull is literally the only dark resist. I mean, it does have Rattle, so you know.
Oh, broken,
That's
broken.
that's every dog type checked right there. But yeah, he also has like a lot of like type weaknesses, just things such as Ice, Rock, Ghost, and the aforementioned Dark. I think offensively this team is pretty good, and like technically there's like some good defensive calls and stuff like Skarm, Latios. I just don't think this team glues well together overall. I mean, it is kind of weird to see a Rillaboom team with like so many like flying immunities. Sorry, ground immunities, for example. So it isn't really able to abuse that terrain healing to an extent. Um, I just kind of feel like the team's just a bit all over the place. I think he's made some transactions. I don't think the transactions do make this team better, even though he still hasn't got a dog type. But you know, he has a Terrakion now.
He
so
picked up
all
his
is
rock
good.
switching. He picked up his rock switching.
Yeah.
The Terrakion.
So yeah, I do think with the transaction, it does make his team a lot better. I don't know if he like it looked like he might have got sniped or something, and then just decided to like change tactics midway through the draft. That's kind of what it feels like with this team. Just feels kind of awkward.
Yeah, it just kind of doesn't work together.
Yeah, no,
I
I'd
think
agree.
the top 6 can probably do something on their own without, unless
Yeah.
you have like a really bad matchup. The top 6 can get away with a lot of teams, I think. But
No,
there are
I'd agree.
definitely flaws that I think that have been patched with the transactions there, so it's on the upside.
The thing, like Lando, I and Rillaboom can kind of win games on their own. Like you can have a Lando just breaks through every team, and then Rillaboom can kind of clean games at the end with like Banded Grassy Glide or +2 Grassy Glide.
Yeah, I do think like this isn't like the worst team. This isn't like unusable or anything at all. It's just a lot of like flaws with it, I'd say, compared to some of the other teams that are higher up. But like I said, with a couple transactions, this can be fixed, and a lot of the problems are now fixed. I think he picked up stuff like Jirachi, Terrakion, what were the other ones?
Yeah, I know he's got Terrakion.
Oh, Licky Tongue and Vileplume. He dropped the Mark, Wobbuffet, Kangaskhan, Skarmory, and Latias. So
At least he got rid of the Latias.
no. But yeah, I think we can move on to number 22.
This is Oran Latios, coach of the Sacramento Kingdras. He's got Urshifu single, Glowking, Gliscor, Kartana, Spectre, Azumarill, Lantern, Grotle, Sableye, and Mega T-Tar.
Yeah, so this was actually drafted by Sub-Zero, who, well, I mean, it's technically drafted by Saints, who has two teams in the bottom three. So this is not looking good, Saint. Not looking good. That's all I'm saying. But this seems kind of weird because I think initially when you look at it, this team just look incredibly random. But I do think there are a lot of like really good like matchup Fishmons. Like Urshifu, Kartana, Spectria, even stuff like Belly Drum and Azumarill. A lot of these mons are super scary to prep for offensively, and in certain matchups, like these mons will just go in. So I think this team will actually like go in on certain drafts. But when we're analyzing this as like a draft itself, there are a lot of flaws with this team. I think G King's like very pressured to check like offensive fairies. I mean, I think G King's one of the best fairy checks, but I think if that or Gliscor goes down, there are some big issues because Gliscor's basically the only rocker besides Grottle, and it's the only defogger besides Kartana. And as well as that, like Gliscor's kind of forced into like being one of his only few momentum mons. I think his only other one being like Lantern and Urshifu. That's pretty big when you have like such an offensive team, and there's like a real lack of momentum. And I don't really see Gliscor being able to like carry momentum with like all the other music has to fit in.
You don't want to really force something like Galarian Slowking into having to be a check when it kind of wants to be offensive most of the time.
Yeah, it's a really good like sell up win con or like just even like an offensive itself.
Having something like Spectre as well, you don't want to like that's only useful against a team that doesn't have a normal type, which most teams should have a normal type. Which it's kind of a waste of points at that time. Like I know it's his speed pick because without speed, his speed would be, or without Spectre, his only speed would be Kartana at 108, then down to Urshifu at 98, which is really bad speed tiers. But having Spectre is kind of like a more matchup or a more prep kind of thing where like in theory its speed tiers there rather than its speed tier actually being there.
Yep. I just realized I think I said that Gliscor was his own rock. There's a Mega T-Tar as well.
Yeah, Mega T-Tar is just weird on this team though, because like you don't want chip, you don't want your team getting chipped.
Yeah, it is weird. There are some weird picks. Like I think Sableye's there's like some sort of like fighting check, but I honestly don't really think. I think that definitely could have been something. I think a lot of these later mons could have been transferred to something else. I think like my main issue with this team is that yes, your offense is really good, but I think you need to pilot it like very specifically in order to pull it off, and that's gonna be very difficult to pull off, not only in certain matchups but like in certain scenarios as well. So yeah, I think that's where it ultimately comes down to. I guess my only other like complaint would like be, it's a bit ground weak, and I do think like Ghost with Focus Blast, yum.
Sableye, I saw this Sableye's eating.
Dragon Week as well.
Yeah.
Is he Dragon Week?
It's got the Resistor, Kartana, and Azumarill, so...
Yeah. He's not got any mons weak to it per se, but maybe it might be kind of awkward for him to switch into it. Yeah. I can see what you mean.
The thing, he does have a Glowking.
Yeah, I can see that.
Glowking can kind of blanket check most special mons.
Yeah, but like we said, Glowking and Gliscor themselves are going to be pressured a lot defensively, I think. Well, I mean, Glowking, it kind of depends on the matchup, but I think Gliscor definitely will be. So, I guess but he did make transactions, and whilst we are only looking at it post draft, since he didn't draft the team, decided to make a quick exception, and we'll briefly go over this team. Aggro, what do you think of this team? The new and improved Ornatius team.
If you look at the top right of the screen, you will see a Sonic moving very quickly, and that's to signify the speed this team has to bring. If you look at the members, most of them are over the 100 speed stat. The only ones that aren't are Entei, Steelix, Primarina, Shifu, and Smiggle. That's roughly half.
I actually calculated the average. Do you want to know what the average speed is?
What is the average speed?
The average speed is 97, and if you take away Steelix, it's 105.
My God. So that's almost that can almost be a bad thing. Is when you don't have to prep for the speed because everything's just so fast.
The thing is, okay, so like Smeagol, no one's prepping the speed on Smeagol. There's like a huge gap between Urshifu and Primarina, which allows a lot of monsters essentially from bulk. And that's pretty bad, especially when you have like a pretty offensive team, which is like what he had. I mean, people will complain about like why they get rid of like Gallo King or like certain other mons. I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, just pick what you're comfortable with. I think it's kind of whatever.
This team offensively is still very good though.
Yeah,
Like,
it's still
Urshifu,
pretty solid.
Gengar, Aero, Carp, Primarina, those are all very good ones.
There's a lot of breakers along with having all that speed, so you have cleaners in Kartana, Aero, Jolteon, kind of.
Yeah.
When there's not a ground type in sight.
I'd say this team's probably a bit more weak to fighting types than even the previous team was. I'd say.
Yeah, it's more offense though, right?
Yeah, even like ground types with ice coverage could be kind of long. So I think it's doing ground Mewtwo, the Latios, and Aero, and then after that he has quite a few mons weak to ground. So yeah, those are some things to look out for, I suppose. Yeah, I guess the other thing as well is the momentum's just Jolteon and Primarina, and the Urshifu, which again that's okay, but there's no like real like maybe like bulky pivots, which I think would be kind of appreciated for this team. Primarina can take some hits, but not on the physical side.
And you don't want Primarina to be coming as a pivot every game. You want it to come with its specs and click the Moonblast button or the Hydro Pump button.
So, but yeah, those are probably some improvements that we could say for this team. So we can move on now to the. Yeah, I've actually lost track of the number now.
Number 21.
All right, so you can announce it from now on.
Okay, Hopeless, coach of the New Jersey Alters. I don't know what that is. Mew, Heatran, Gren, Sylveon, Serp, Mudsdale, Mienshao, Rotom, Skuntank, Tauros, and Mega Pinsir.
This is the number 1 team according to Legendary Superior.
This team is impeccable.
Yes. Yeah, here it is pretty low. So with this team, I think a lot of the other teams, in fact, nearly every other team besides like maybe Bagel Johns, I could kind of understand what they were trying to do in terms of synergy. This team, I do not understand for the life of me what on earth is going on with this team. It just looks like a bunch of random mons just slapped together.
It's odd. There's no breakers, which is, you don't want Mega Pinsir to be a breaker in a meta, or in any meta really, where rocks are so prevalent. You can't rely.
Oh, Tauros. Oh, Mienshao.
Mienshao and Pinsir are pretty much the only breakers. Like, Greninja's not gonna break most weeks. Serp isn't gonna break when there's a Steel type, or a Fire type, or a Bug type. So.
I mean, I could see Sylveon being a breaker, but the problem is, I think a lot of time it might need to be the Spadefmon. The only other real good Spadefmon is Heatran, but the thing with Heatran is that I think Heatran's really pressured on this team. Like, it's the only real fairy resist. But no, it is in fact the only fairy resist because he has a Skuntank. And I do think like flying spam could be kind of annoying if the Heatran's taken out, because the only other flying resist is Rotom, and that's definitely not the most reliable flying resist.
Pretty much everything just needs to be run through Sylveon and Heatran. Sylveon wishing up to Heatran. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, I think that's kind of what's been forced into. I think another thing is bulky water, none to be seen. That can cause some problems in certain matchups. Unless you want to run Fat Greninjas like some Mamoswine check.
That is not a Mamoswine check. That thing is taking 90.
That's a Gypsy King special.
90.
So,
at least.
But yeah, I just think my issue with this team is just a lack of synergy. I think the only way that this team's gonna come together is if Mew basically is able just to carry this team on its back in a sense and glue things together.
Which Mew can do.
Which is a lot to ask. Yeah, it can do it. It's a lot. It's definitely a lot to ask. But
Comes
I think
down
he
to prep, though.
Did make some transactions. I think he's dropped the Mienshao for Fun DT, and then he's also picked up the Gliscor, which has dropped Breloom and Illumise. So I think that could definitely help him a bit more as well. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
I hope he gets value out of his Pinsir though. I don't think not sure how often you can bring Pinsir and have it like a reliable team with the other members he's got.
Yeah.
He's forced into bringing Defog on Serp.
To be fair, looking at his transactions, I don't know if it's I think it might help a bit more synergistically, but I don't. Really
I don't think
know
that's a word.
if they fix all of it. I come up with the word, you know, if it's above the PRs. But I don't really think it fixes all of his problems is the thing. So it'll be interesting to see for sure. But hopefully he's able to make them work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, on to number 20. We have Weasel Senpai, coach of the El Pasocincinos, with Dragapult, Melmetal, Megalop, Nidoqueen, Suicune, Mandibuzz, Whimsicott, Armaldo, Bronzong, Galvantula, and a waste of a point.
Oh yeah, show Charmeleon some respect.
That thing is literally never gonna come to a game.
Hey, you.
He's vibing.
I'm sure Breeze is gonna prove him wrong. I mean, the Charmeleon is a weird pick. I think there probably are better fire types at 1 point, but at the same time, it is a 1-pointer, so I don't think it's like a.
It's not the end of the world.
But you know, if Charmeleon does come to a game, I'll be interested to see what it exactly does.
It's clicking Dragon Rage.
I believe he's been traded away already.
No,
is he
not
gone? I didn't
Charmeleon.
even realize that.
His time is limited.
What was the trades?
He was on the practice squad.
Charmeleon gone for Florges, I think.
Oh, okay, got rid of the Galvantula. That's interesting.
I think I might be wrong.
I mean, webs aren't necessary for this team. The speed tours are a little weird with what Polt going to going to Whimsicott, and then down to Mandibuzz or Suicune.
The water types might be a bit more annoying, but I guess you can still play around it. So, but talking about this team in of itself, one of the main issues I have, I think, is I think the special breakers. It's like Dragapult with specs, offensive Nidoqueen, and that might literally be about it.
Whimsicott is not a breaker even with specs.
No, it's like sort of like 75.
I think something like that.
Attack.
Something like that.
78. I something like that. Yeah, it's not particularly high, and even like Galvantula, I don't think hits space 100 special attack. I think it's 95. Ice Thunder might be nice. I think it's 97.
Agronauts, can you confirm?
I believe 97. I've run the numbers.
Yeah,
he's run the numbers.
Yeah, the special breaking isn't amazing. I think as well certain mons are kind of forced into certain roles too. I think like Mandibuzz is kind of like full Moosalt syndrome here.
It needs
it's one of its only default goes. Yeah, like you said, one of the only real knockoff mons besides Whimsicott, and I think Armaldo gets.
I think Armaldo gets it.
But I don't know how often Armaldo's come to a game. But if you're running knock and default, that really limits you. For example, being able to run U-turn, which is kind of nice for this team. Yeah, so Mandibuzz, yes, it is a good component for the team. With all the stuff it can offer, but how efficiently it's able to execute that, I'm not too sure. Especially wanting knockoff support for the Melmetal would be kind of nice, unless he wants to run pads a lot of the weeks, which I mean he can.
Yeah.
Polt Mega Lobs are pretty interesting call. I've seen, obviously it's been drafted in quite a few of the other divisions as well. I definitely can see value in it. Since they do fill similar roles, but my issue is you definitely do want to surround it with good breakers, and I think Melmetal and Nidoqueen aren't bad. Maybe another instant breaker would be kind of nice with this.
Yeah.
Melmetal doesn't always want to run both of those mons don't always want to run offensive though.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So most weeks, if you're forced into bringing offensive Nidoqueen, offensive Melmetal, and then Specs Polt so that you can break the team, then it's kind of limiting what you can do and limiting what your opponent has to prep for.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. Some other things as well. I'd say I think if you look at an offensive fighting type, that is pretty scary for this team to switch in. Yes, Mandibuzz could maybe switch in, or even Suicune to a lesser extent. But if a powerful fighting move will really harm both of them, and then the rest of them, they can pretty much run coverage just to wipe through the whole team. I think Wish support actually might not be bad for the kind of build he created. I mean, he has now picked up the Florges, so that will definitely help with that to an extent.
Yeah.
Florges helps with Florges is actually a big help because it helps with defog. It helps giving him another like special switch in, so that maybe Melmetal doesn't need to be a special switch in. Maybe Nino.
One thing I will say, if he does pick up the Florges, that will now mean there's a big gap between Whimsicott and Suicune in terms of speed tiers.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty significant if you ask me.
I think losing the electric type's not ideal either. You're not.
Yeah.
The water, like if Whimsicott's not coming, you can't hit water super effectively, very easily. Waters will be coming because Melmetal's there.
Yeah, I think as well. Looking at like some of the, I think Suicune's going to be pressured a lot in terms of checking like fire types. So otherwise, like, all his other like fire resists, I think just aren't really all that great. It's like Dragapult, and then the Charmeleon.
You don't want your Dragapult coming to switch into things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so with Suicune taking out, offensive fire types can like definitely put some pressure on this team. But it's not a bad team overall. Just some flaws.
Next up is number 19. I don't know how to say this name.
Share.
Okay. Coach of the hashtag Flat is Justice. With Dragapult, Gliscor, Megamedi, Rotom Heat, Ferrothorn, Zoroark, Alomomola, Type Null, Articuno, and Galarian Weezing.
Actually, I'm really curious to know what Flat is Justice even means.
Yeah, I'm confused right now.
Yeah, but I'm sure Shea can tell us.
I'm sure.
So we've gone from one Dragapult team to another Dragapult team. I don't think I've ever seen like Dragapult teams be like this slow in quite a while.
Because Dragapult is just so
Dragapult Mega Medi. That's usually like #1 fodder. But yeah, with this seems kind of weird. So there's definitely some good aspects to it, and that's mainly like the defensive core that's built around it. So stuff like Gliscor, Rotom Heat, Ferrothorn, Aloe, even like the Type Null and the Gallo Weezing to extent. All this like combination is going to be pretty annoying to break. And then you have like the Dragapult and the Mega Medicham. That's a really good offensive core. The problem is that together it does kind of still mean the team doesn't really pressure enough offensively, in the sense that a lot of these mons are like on paper are just very predictable on like what they do, and they lose a lot of momentum potentially depending on how they're played. So I think here we'll need to be pretty smart in terms of how he uses it, because I can see over time him not really gaining like making much progress with his team and just falling back because of it. I think that was like pretty apparent in the week 1 game as well.
As Zazo would say, this team doesn't really force progress.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of like my main issue on this team.
Yeah, like Rotom needs a Nasty Pot to pressure. Gliscor needs a Swords Dance to pressure. So once you get like through the Dragapult and the Medi, even if you knock down one of them, you're basically out of options to pressure.
Yeah, I mean, he can still play around it. Like you said, you can run that. You can run U-turn Gliscor to get in, like, either the Medi or the Dragapult back in. I think the Zoroark pick I actually do like that pick. I think that's a pretty nice pick in terms of both his speed tiers, which, I mean, this team maybe could be a bit faster as well. Or we'll have one more, like, somewhat fast one. It's not a deal breaker, but it could be nice. And then also, I think, like, Zoroark's really his main way of breaking on the special side, like, without any setup or any sort of like specs or anything. Stuff like Dragapult or Rotom Heat.
The issue is Medicham is literally the only physical breaker on this team.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised he did take the Articuno. I mean, Articuno is a pretty decent mon. I just feel like that could be traded out for a mon which maybe can fill more of an offensive role for this team. Help out in that sort of sense.
Is Aggronauts even still here? I haven't heard him say a word in many minutes.
He's lurking.
Aggronauts is lurking.
I've been speaking.
Alright, Aggronauts, what do you think of this team?
One second, let me put it back up because I was thinking if I was
Okay. Alright, I'll say one more thing. I think this will compete depending on whether he's able to sustain health. Like, for example, stuff like Rotom Heat will rely on Pain Split, Barrow will rely on Leech Seeds, and then, I mean, the Aloe Wish Pass will be really nice for both those mons, and even Type Null as well. But if he doesn't play Aloe right, then he can lose momentum off it. So.
I think
be
Vaporeon almost would have been better than Alomola. I know it's a mascot pick, clearly, but Vaporeon being able to flip turn would just make so much more for this team. Being able to flip turn into the Ferrothorn,
I mean,
into the Rotom
I do think Aloe is not bad if he's able to use it correctly, as in just use it more of like a mid ground kind of mon.
Yeah. It's just kind of a sponge.
I
do get what you mean. Yeah.
I would
Aggronauts,
also say,
back up.
Yes, good afternoon. I would also say that I do like, obviously Dragapult Medichams are a strong offensive core, and like you can bring the top 5 with like the last slot can be any of the other ones, and I think that can do decently well. And as we said, the other things you want to watch out for is losing out on your offense, but I don't think it's something that can't be played around. Like you can
he can play around
set up your stuff and be offensive enough. So it's definitely not the end of the world.
The thing is, like, this team is probably one of the best teams that I've seen defensively. The main issue is that there are so many really pretty strong offenses, but I do think that in certain matchups he will kind of be on the back if he doesn't play it around correctly or isn't able to get Mega Medicham or Dragapult in enough. That's just kind of my slight worry of his team, but it's definitely got a solid base. I do appreciate like what we're trying to go with this team.
It's definitely a bit ice weak though. Like a Kyurem would eat this team alive. Like getting a Toxic off on Rotom Heat, then just spamming Freeze Dry.
Potentially, yeah.
That is a common problem with
Aloe Rotom Heat are pretty decent resist, but they can both be abused, especially with sub.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I think we can move on.
Next up is JR Boys, coach of the Hartford Go-Goats, with Victini, Celesteela, Megalop, Zarude, Sylveon, Seismitoad, Dragonite, Stunfisk, Avalugg, Munchlax.
Aggronauts, I miss hearing your voice. You can start.
Okay. Good afternoon. So, I will start off with a constructive criticism. As you can see immediately, the only 2 removal of hazards are Dragonite and Avalugg, and unfortunately, Avalugg he won't be coming to many games. He's a slow fella and he won't be able to make it. And Mr. Dragonite, you don't really want to be running Defog on him every week if you can avoid it, as it's quite a shame. Like you miss out on all the offensive sets. Not that defensive Dragonite is bad, but I think it's definitely limited. However, on the offensive side, I do quite like the team. Victini, Lop, Darude form a nice momentum core, and they can break for each other respectively. And you've got Sylveon on the defensive side with Toad, and I guess if you want to include Stunfisk.
Stunfisk is literally the best electric resist in the game. Honestly.
I beg to differ.
It is a complete counter to every electric type.
You've got some synergy with Toad and Steeler together, and Sylveon with being able to wish stuff up. So it's a decent little team, but I do think there are flaws that I'm sure Hazelslap would like to point out.
I'll have you know that Celesteela is pretty large, so
He is.
Yeah, there's no little team. Okay, so I think with this team, I think kind of the problem is, so you draft Celesteela round 2, and one of the big things when you draft Celesteela is that because it takes up so usually with Stealth Rockers, stuff like steals, rounds, and sometimes rocks. Those are kinds of things that you draft and that give you rocks. So he picked up a steel type without rocks, and then one of the main types that gives you defog is fly, and Celesteela doesn't have either of those. So when you draft around Celesteela, one of the key things you have to keep in mind is that you need to make sure you draft some immediate hazard control. Even if we are in Gen 8 without boots, still having hazard control is still important to some sort of an extent. And it seems like he then decided to draft Megalop, Zarude, and Sylveon, and then went, "Oh wait, I still need some hazard control." I think he immediately just panicked and picked Seismitoad, Dragonite, Stunfisk, and Avalugg, hoping those would all fix his problems.
Seismitoad isn't bad on the team. It's just it.
No, it is. No, Seismitoad's fine. Honestly, Dragonite as well is fine. These are fine mons. I think Sergeant and Stompfist, they both share grass weakness.
And
So both that can be abused in terms of like hazard setting. And then Dragonite and Avalog also share some similar weaknesses.
a big
That as
issue
well
is
can be abused.
Avalug and Victini being your only, I guess Munchlax with thick fat is kind of
Yeah.
an ice resist, but your steel type being neutral to ice, your water type being neutral to ice, you kind of have a big issue there when Victini is basically the only thing you're ever bringing into a game that's dealing with an ice type.
Yeah, I mean, I think Avalog does have its matchups. But yeah, that's not every week. I
There's
think
also
like
no poison as well.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
there is
kind of
no poison type. So as well as the removal being pretty bad, T spikes can be pretty prevalent. I mean, stuff like Celestia not being able to beat it's nice. I think what this in turn means is that a lot of his mons are gonna run boots, and that means that even though you have stuff like Megalop and even Sylveon to a lesser extent, which don't really care about knockoff too much, his team does overall become pretty knockoff weak. Overall, I'd say.
Something like Victini, although it benefits from boots, one of the biggest things with Victini is you want to have that banded V create, that choice scarf V create, that expert belt blue flare or charcoal or anything else other than boots. When you're forced to run boots, it's a bad game.
Yeah, and even Celesteela, that's like that really doesn't appreciate being knocked off because that means you lose lefties and you're forced into leech seed.
Or you lose
recovery.
power herb with the meteor beam set.
Yeah. Yeah, I think another thing is maybe another fast mon between Zarude and Megalop would be kind of nice. I'd say. And then maybe like I mean, I don't think he's insanely weak to fighting types, but there are like certain like high tier fighting types I could see be kind of known for this team. But I do think he has like good mons on this team. I definitely don't think this is a bad team. It's just like a couple of like big flaws which let it down.
Yep. Okay. Number 17 is Ollie with coach of the Bastions. I don't know if that's right. With the Torn T, Clefable, Hydreigon, Slowking, Heracross, Mega Heracross, Tangela, Weezing, Musharna, Greedent, and then Gigalith and Excadrill.
Slap, you're so uncultured on your Switzerland knowledge.
Oh yes, I'm ignorant American. I understand.
Swiss.
Yeah.
But yeah, this team. So the other team which I checked the average speed on was this team, and its average speed is 61, compared to all Latios's like 105 base speed team. Which shows you kind of how slow this team is. Like I think Taunty's the only mon above base 100 speed, and you might be like, oh wait, there's an Excadrill. But the thing is, you always want to have like good natural speed, so you aren't reliant on like sand, especially when stuff like Mishana doesn't appreciate sand because of like Moonlight means it can't heal as much without the sand. And honestly, I'm a bit confused why Mishana's there. Maybe he thought that he was a bit too weak to fighting types without it.
I mean, Slowking and Clef,
yeah.
Torn kind of deal with most fighting types well.
Yeah, I think he could still
Over
soft check
half
it
his
enough.
team over half his team resists fighting. Like Heracross resists it as well.
Yeah, that does seem like kind of a weird team. I think as well, Slowking being the only ice resist, that's not particularly ideal. And then Big Tangler is the only super effective way he can break through water touch with stab moves. I think an electric type would have been kind of nice for this team.
Yeah, it is strong offensively, but Hydreigon being basically forced to run Scarf every week because you can't break a team when you're slower than everything, right?
Yeah, I think Hydreigon has basically just locked into its scarf.
Also, if you want to bring Sand, then things like Slowking take an extra chip when it comes in, when it wants to take one hit and get right out with Teleport. And Torn, if it gets knocked, it takes Stealth Rocks into Sand. That's taking its entire regenerator out, let alone if it actually takes a hit. Tango, one thing I will say, Tango does work with Sand if that was his goal.
No, Tango's a good monster off his sand.
I think it's fine if you've got something else to pressure water types, but it's literally like Heracross clicking, Bullet Seed, or a Dragon dropping a Draco on the water. Cause otherwise,
yeah, or if they have like recovery, maybe like running taunt just to stop them recovering potentially.
With this team,
Running
you're just kind of hoping that they sack the
Yeah.
water type to a +2 Hurricane or a Bullet Seed
Yeah.
or a Draco or a +2 EQ from Drill.
I mean, I do think the mons themselves are pretty good. I can see this team like working. It's just a really big flaw, I'd say, having just that big lack of speed at the top. And then there, I mean, maybe he can run some like trick run shenanigans.
I was just about to say that. But
Yep.
the issue is it's kind of right in that speed tier. Like most of the mons are like right in that speed tier where you don't want to run Trick Room.
Yeah, there are a lot of like base like Clef, Wheezing,
Even
Tanglers basics as well. Yeah.
even Heracross being base 75,
Yeah,
it's like you don't
75.
really want to
But
run.
I mean, he
Trick
does
Room.
have stuff like Slow King, Gigalith, Mishana. The Greedent count, I don't know. It's just-
Greedent
I feel
is
the Greedent
broken.
liquids.
Greedent is so broken. Run Stuffed Cheek Swords Dance, it's over.
Yeah, that you can run that with Trick Room, but of course Trick Room isn't like the most reliable. That isn't the way you really want to. You don't really want to run that every week. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think if there was good speed in this team would be much higher.
Agronauts, do you have anything to add?
No, I think we've gone over all the points.
Oh, okay. At number 16, we have Yehoodles, coach of the Cleveland Lake Guardians, with Mega Gallade, Feeny, Hydreigon, Heatran, Nidoqueen, Rotom-Frost, Spectrier, Serena, Omastar, Pikachu, and Noctowl. Haz, I know you have some strong opinions about this team, so go ahead.
No, I mean, my bids aren't actually that incredibly strong. I think I like the start of this draft, and I think when you have like Mega Gallade, Finny, Hydreigon, Heatran, Nidoqueen, these are mons which can come to most games. That's very good. And then after that, I mean, I wouldn't call it necessarily bad. The way I see it is just there are too many niche mons is the thing. Like even like spending like all those points on Spectre. Spectre is a very good mon. He gives him speed, so I understand why he picked it, but it isn't a mon that will have a perfect matchup every game. Unless he kind of builds around it to where he can like beat its checks with stuff like Gallade, Finny, and some of his other stuff. And then obviously, Omastar. I think honestly, for 5 points, I think Omastar is actually kind of fine. I don't really have a huge issue with that pick.
I think
Pikachu and Noctowl. I mean, you have 3 points, so it's like, yeah, you spend them how you want. But yeah, I mean, no, I mean those mons are niche as well. I don't think so. I'm not a huge fan of Serena. I don't think that's a mon you can like. That can actually come
it's
to a lot.
not a reliable mon.
Yeah.
Another
I mean, I think it's pretty decent breaking wise, but bulk wise, it is kind of lacking.
as I mentioned with the earlier Spectre team, Spectre is more of a in theory speed tier. You're not gonna have to like it's not a patch to speed tiers. You can have like you want to have your 105s, your 110s, your 115s, and then on top of that you want to have Spectrier. You don't want to have like my 110 down to 98 down to 95, and then there's a 130 Spectrier, which is never gonna have to be prepped for in terms of speed tier.
Yeah, I think similar to Ollie, I can see Hydreigon being off a lot of weeks because obviously Gallade you can't really run that as a Scarfer, and then Spectre you don't really want to run. I mean, you can run it Scarf, but it's not really what you want to do with it. So I can see Hydreigon kind of being pressured into that like Scarfing role.
I will say Gallade Spectre is a good core.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, obvious. Only fighting with the Spectre.
I think this team definitely isn't like built badly at all. It's just kind of awkward with some of the later picks. I think.
Yeah.
I think defensively as well. I'm not the biggest fan of like these mons combined as like an overall defensive core.
The hazards are fine. Never mind.
Yeah, its hazards are okay. I mean, that's the only criticism I could say is that all his rock setters are weak to ground. That's probably as far as I can go. Aggro, do you have any points for this team? Mr. Brady.
No, I just think the top 5 are like they're completely fine, and I think they can carry you most games. So you can flex your last pick with Pikachu if you feel like it, or even Spectre. So
Yeah, quite the flexes.
I
think he did make some transactions as well.
I almost feel like Omastar Pikachu Noctowl. I don't remember. Is it 9 or 10 that you need?
10.
Okay, so you could almost package almost our Pikachu Noctowl and get like something you actually want. Because realistically, you want to bring what the top 7, 6 of the top 7 most weeks is Serena sprinkled in there when you need a great ground switch in. And then you kind of just maybe you wanted some more like some things that provided a bit of use, because Pikachu Noctowl don't provide use, and Almostar, it gives you Stealth Rocks, it gives you, I think, Spikes. I could be wrong though.
Yeah, it does Spikes and T-Spikes. To be fair, he has dropped Serena, Almostar, Noctowl. He's picked up Uxie and Regigigas.
That's not bad actually.
Yeah, I think he's good.
I just realized how Ghost Week he was, and we hadn't talked about it.
yeah, no, he's a big Ghost Week, yeah.
Hydreigon was the only Ghost Switch in. I guess Noctowl.
I mean, there was a Noctowl as well.
That thing's not coming to a game, so.
Trust in big knockers.
Okay.
I don't think Noctowl's horrible, but you know, it's. I think with the amount of like niche mons he had, I think those are some like fine. Those are like fine enough transactions.
Fair enough. Let's move on to number 15, Mr. K Savage, with coach of the Columbus Crobats with Mew, Mega Arrow, Kyurem, Infernape, Pex, Serp, Steelix, Florges, Rotom Fan, Sableye, Kecleon. I just want to say he's gonna win most games because nobody drafted a Kyurem switch in. There's not one team who's actually drafted a Kyurem switch in.
How many real Kyurem switch-ins are there, honestly?
Like 5.
Like
Rotom Frost. Rotom Frost.
Yeah, Rotom. Sure.
I've seen Bronzong's been drafted and Rotom Frost. What do you mean?
No. I'm saying how many of like Kyurem just are in drafts. But anyway, Mr. K Savage, he has a set of pocket monsters.
He has.
And I think overall this team is like, it's like one of those teams where it just looks alright to me. It's not bad, but nothing like sticks out as amazing. I think his only rock resist is the Steelix. I think Toxapex is gonna be kind of pressured into like being the ice switch in, which I mean it's a pretty good ice switch in, but that can be abused. So I think the only other ice resist is the Infernape, and that's less than ideal. If you're not including Mew, I would say the momentum isn't great on this team. I think it's just the Rotom Fan and the Infernape. I think Mew itself can, like, he's got decent enough bulk, and I mean the offense you could kind of argue, but I wouldn't call it like necessarily terrible. I think it is workable. So I think Mew's either going to be like some sort of like offensive like setup set, or maybe you can use it as like a bulky pivot. Because I think that could actually be very much appreciated on this team.
This draft almost looks like you went by like the draft league checklist of getting like fairy dragon steel core, getting the fire water grass core, make sure you have rockers, get some volt switch and U-turn in there, you know, make sure you hit all your speed tiers with Mew at 100, Kyurem at 95, Infernape at 108, Surf at 113. Get your normal type, get your dark type. It just seems like it was just like kind of like a checklist.
Yeah,
instead of an actual
I am very
draft.
confused why Sableye was the dark type on this team.
It doesn't really fill the role of a dark type, other than
no.
It does switch into Psychics, which I guess he kind of struggles with. He's got Mew Steelix, but
I feel like it's there for if you do play like a Galade or a Meta, you can not have Mew be defensive. But I think you probably best to put Mew defensive against those matchups anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'd maybe just rather have a different dog type. That's just my personal. I'm not that big of a Sableye person.
I'm high on
like
Kecleon, so cool. That's a good pick.
Kecleon,
Kecleon's also like it's pretty good dealing with a lot of ghost types as well, especially with like Shadow Sneak shenanigans as well.
It's just
but yeah, offensively, I don't think this team's necessarily bad.
It's just a little weak.
Yeah,
another breaker.
Like all out media offense.
It's like Infernape, Kyurem, and then everything else. Like Mew needs like a Dragon Dance, a Nasty Plot. Arrow needs a Dragon Dance. Serp needs to hit 1 Leaf Storm, 1 or 2 Leaf Storms to break a team. It's just not immediately pressuring.
Yeah. I think in a lot of matchups he'll probably be fine with what he has. But there might be some matchups where that might be slightly annoying. Yeah, overall, I don't have too many issues with this team.
It's just like it's
I
like a perfect mediocre draft. Just
Yeah, I'd say it's fine. I just think a lot of the other teams just have higher upsides, if that makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
But this definitely is this definitely usable.
Okay, at number 14, we have KHD's favorite draft league player, P. McGee. Coach of the Potown Pukemookus with Coco, Medi, Corviknight, Umbreon, Roserade, Arcanine, Druddigon, Frostlass, Pukemooku, Gligar, Inteleon, Wigglytuff.
You know, there's Agent Leon on this team, so Agronauts.
Agronauts should go first.
I will start. I will say that the Agent Leon pickup is impeccable. It's really brought the team together, and I'm sure it will be a fruitful pick.
It was a fruitful pick.
Yeah. I mean, against Lucas B, it has.
It did its thing.
Sniping a lot of people. But anyway, in all seriousness, I think the team starts off very nicely. The first top 3. Then obviously everyone hates the round 4 Umbreon, but I see a follower of ATT's ways, and I respect that. The rest of the Pokemon, I'm not sure. I feel like you could have done something different. Roserade, Arcanine, Druddigon, like, they're all decent enough Pokemon. There's nothing that's stand out, and I'm not a big fan of Frostlass on this team once Roserade has been drafted already for Spikes, but it is your only way of pressuring bulky Psychics and Ghosts, really, because Umbreon's not going to be doing that job too well.
If there's a Reuniclus, this team just loses on the spot. It does not break a Reuniclus.
Yeah, so I would have liked a stronger Ghost type or another Dark type, perhaps. Just something to pressure Psychics properly, because otherwise... Because our Psychics will be coming, you've got a Medicham, so... Yeah. Also, I think there was a few issues with the resists on this team. There's not a lot of... What were the resists?
The fightings with coverage kind of eat.
And Mons with knockoff as well will be feasting on this team. Oh, sorry, no. There's no knockoff on this team. Is what I meant to say.
Yeah, stuff like helmet and boots.
This team just doesn't particularly break. Like you have Coco Medi, like that's a great core to start off with for breaking, and then you don't draft another breaker for the rest of the draft.
You know what? I'm gonna go do some defending for my good pal P. McGee.
Okay.
I mean, okay, all right, let's go for it. So Coco Medi, really good. Corviknight, that's a good momentum on into either of those two. So we get to the Umbreon, which a lot of people have memed on, and I mean, whilst I don't have a huge problem with Umbreon per se, the reason in the earlier rounds you want to pick higher price Mons is because the pool is still full of really good Mons, which add a lot of value to your team. You basically want to abuse all the options that are available, especially when Umbreon is probably gonna last much later on. I think after round 4, maybe it's round 5, round 6, then you pick the Mons which you feel are most valuable to your team. I think that's maybe what we tried to do with Umbreon, but I think that's a bit early for him to reach that. I like what Agronaut said. That also means when you have a Mega Medicham, that's gonna force in bulky Psychics, and then when you have an Umbreon doesn't really pressure us all that well. I mean, I can definitely respect the Frostlass pick in terms of trying to be able to deal with that, but Frostlass doesn't have enough immediate offense to where it truly forces them out.
It kind of needs chip on whatever Psychic before it actually goes for the kill.
Which, I mean, it probably will get that with Mega Medicham, to be fair. But I actually think some of the breaking, Roserade, Arcanine, and Druddigon, they can all be offensive sets, really. So I think if he's able to build well, I don't think the breaking is necessarily a huge issue. And I mean, there is also an Agent Leon as well.
Agent Leon can break.
Yeah,
Agent Leon is a breaker.
125 special attack. Yeah, that's...
He's come and he's feasted.
He's come and he's conquered even.
Yeah, I think stuff like Gligar and Corviknight are gonna have to be more of U-turn pivot Mons for this team.
One of them is gonna need to show up every week because there's no ground resist.
That's true.
There's no real resist. Gligar.
It's just the immunities, but they're both decent enough immunities. They don't share any weaknesses, so that can be okay. I think his default options he's gonna have to bring one of Gligar and Corviknight as well for default because Coco with default just is not it because it ruins its own terrain. I think if he's able to keep up momentum, I think he could honestly be fine. Like I do like the fact he has a lot of like spike stacking as well to maybe get over the fact that his breaking power from certain mons might not be great every game.
He's got good cleaners though. Like
Yeah,
Coco
he does have
Leon can
he has good
clean pretty
speed.
easily.
Speed's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in theory, I do think this is a pretty well balanced team. All in all, I do think there might be certain like matchups where his defense was getting incredibly pressured as well. But I guess we'll see.
I guess we're gonna move on to the next team.
Yeah, actually, also pukemookus fire pick.
Fire pick. Okay, at number 13 we have Nicholas, coach of the Walter family. With Garchomp, Aegislash, Weavile, Cinderace, Rotom-Mow, Mega Bro, Togekiss, Audino, Regice, Garbodor.
Pocket monsters. I think he has good Pokemon. I honestly thought when I first saw this team would probably be higher. I think when you look at it a bit more, there are some certain flaws. So going to the positives, I think the speeds, the offensive speeds, or well, just the offense itself of the first couple of picks is very good. The Garchomp, Weavile, Cinderace core, that's solid, especially when you pair it with Aegislash. And then I think he went a bit more of his bulk with Rotom, Mega Bro, and Togekiss.
I do really like Mega Bro on this team.
Yeah, I think Mega Bro is basically like a huge glue mon for this team. And in terms of being like a fat mon which can like get slow momentum out with teleports, bring in stuff like Weavile and Cinderace for free.
You
I
have
think just being
Audino
able
Togekiss for the wish as well. So
Yeah.
you can actually Mega if you want to.
Yeah, and you can sustain it that way. I think Mega Bro is pretty nice in terms of taking because Mega Bro doesn't really care about knockoff. I think that is actually kind of big for this team as well because a lot of these mons don't really like being knocked off too. I will say, so some of the issues I have with this team. I don't think he's weak to fire types necessarily because like Garchomp, Mega Bro, even Cinderace to a lesser extent, can all kind of switch in, not too badly. I think it's just more fire coverage with certain mons are going to be annoying because there are a lot of other mons which I don't appreciate fire coverage that are like pretty pivotal on this team. I'd say Chomp being the only rocker, Garchomp is a very good stealth rock user, but it being your only rocker definitely is not ideal. Especially if you do want to run maybe like more of an SD set and you want to have some coverage on that. I mean, it can be kind of annoying losing rocks to that. His only like ground immunities and defoggers, they're both weak to ice. So, and even his stats is also weak to ice. So like, all in all, I think the hazard control in this game, on this team is just pretty weak overall. I think a lot of these teams are also going to be forced into boots with how rock weak a lot of these mods are as well.
Having court change is nice, although it's not actually hazard removal. You just it is an option. Say you get spike stacked. You get spike stacked. You don't need to defog. Just send them over.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can also see like Fat Waters being a bit annoying for this team as well. Like Rotom-Mow being the only like true ways of breaking them. Like, yes, he does have like Garchomp and Weavile can chip them down. Even Cinderace can chip. All these mons do pressure them, and the fact that all of them basically all of them can force in water types, and that can inherently chip it down over time. And I can even see stuff like Regice like maybe being able to like abuse some of them, but not all of them. But I'm not too sure about this team overall. Like I said, I like the mons. Well, I like most of the mons. I'm not too big on the Regice pick, but besides that, I think the rest of the team's fine. I like the Audino as well, being like a good like mid-ground pivot for this team, and also being able to wish past some of these other mods.
It is generally just a fine team. Like it has its roles, it has its weaknesses. I think it can't like the Cinderace Rotom-Mow Volturn core. I think is very nice because Cinderace forcing in all the waters generally, forcing waters or grounds in. And then you go into Rotom, force them out, go back into the Cinderace, etc., etc. It's a nice team, along with the Garbodor's spikes and toxic spikes on the bottom.
Yeah.
I don't think it won't struggle offensively. It will only struggle to and the other team has, like, as we said, stuff to kill your defoggers and all this. So offensively, you're fine, but I think you might get caught out defensively sometime.
Yeah, he has made some trades as well. He dropped Aegis Slash in the race, Ordino and Regas.
Oh,
He picked
boy.
up Melmetal,
Ooh.
Blissey, Moltres, and the big Camerupt.
I
So there are
think
more
that
rockers
makes I think that makes the team worse, honestly. I don't know. I
think-
like
I
the
think
Aegis
it's
Slash on this
preference.
team. I'm not a big fan of Melmetal.
Yeah, I mean, I heard Sonson say that losing Aegis Slash means that he kind of struggles to break on the special side, which I'm not sure if I agree with that per se, but
I mean,
Moltres is a pretty decent special breaker.
Togekiss can do its
Togekiss
breaking
can do it. Yeah, Togekiss can fulfill that role too.
if it gets lucky and bad, etc.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think these are. I can understand these to a certain extent. I think I can understand why some people might not be a fan. Like Aegis Slash and Cinderace, these are like pretty solid mons. But I think like it does maybe help the team overall. With like it's like again those extra rockers, I think will be really nice to free up Garchomp a bit more.
Yeah. Okay, on to number 12. Fist to your doom, coach of the pathetic. Is that what it is? Is that what it's called?
Do you really want me to look up the full
It's got a
name?
really long name.
No, I don't actually.
No,
He's got
I'll find it. You said you just read out the name.
he's got the Mega Mawile, Zeraora, Slowking, Nidoking, Savali, Incineroar, Noivern, Tauros, Kulidin, Galarian, Zapdos. Agronauts, it's your turn. Go ahead.
Okay, first thing I'd like to point out is that Tauros has been drafted. That's a very good Pokemon.
So true.
Okay. Yes, for the other things I would like to say, I do like how many breakers this team has, as well as Slowking being your main momentum Pokemon. So you're able to bring in Mawile, Zera, Nidoking freely without them taking any damage, which is very nice for them. I also do like the Zapdos at the very end that was drafted as a strong fighting type, even as a flying type. It does support this team well and can, like, it's also got momentum, which is great for the other breakers. One criticism I do have are the hazards on this team. Unfortunately, it's only Mawile and Nidoking that can set up rocks, and Quelidin can set up spikes. You don't really want to be running rocks on Mawile and Nidoking, especially on this type of team, where I feel like you always want to be attacking your opponent unless you're teleporting with Slowking. So otherwise, I think you lose out on the fact that you have such strong breakers if you're just wasting a turn setting up rocks. The defoggers on this team are okay. You've got Noivern and Silvally. Silvally can it can defog every game, but it will get chipped down.
I think
And
Noivern's actually not a bad defogger,
Noivern
honestly.
with boots can always get the job done.
Yeah, I think with boots it's like fine.
It's become more of a
What
support
about
mod this
it?
gen rather than what
Yeah.
it did last gen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'd agree with that.
I would also say that Mawile's the only steel and fairy type. It's both the steel and the fairy. There wasn't a secondary one drafted. So if Silvally's not coming as a steel or fairy type, then I can easily see dragons using this team. I do think a dragon with a secondary stab will be quite annoying for this. So you're going to have to up offense the dragon before it hurts you in the first place.
Not a big problem, but I think Nidoking being the only actual breaker on the special side is a bit of a problem. But I don't really think it's that big of a problem, especially with like Mawile, Nidoking just kind of destroying pretty much any team. You can just kind of double back and forth, forcing in checks that get destroyed by the other one, especially with the Zapdos at the bottom. Adding to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, he has a pretty like physical, like in terms of breakers, it's definitely more physically orientated. I do think without any soul clerics, that does mean like status can definitely punish this team a lot. In terms of sort of like, yeah, basically most of these mons just really do not want to be like can like really get screwed over by like getting status, and like not having any sort of way to like heal that off could be kind of annoying. That could definitely be a way to like abuse this team. Yeah, I also think as well like defensively, I don't think this team really like stands up that well. Like yes, there is like some sort of like intimidate core or whatever that could like maybe help with this physically defensive bulk, but like outside of Quilladin, there really isn't like any sort of like physical walls. And yeah, I just think overall, just like Bulk doesn't really have enough sustain outside of like Slowking, and like maybe Quilladin. But I think offensively, like this is like one of the best teams. Like this team puts a lot of offensive pressure.
True. It's got decent speed tiers too. There's a big gap between what Noivern and no, those Tauros. Never mind.
There's
No,
a Taurus.
it's
Keep
good.
behind the Taurus.
Yes, I do. It's good speed tiers. Good speed tiers. Good Mawile support, having like Incineroar to U-turn Parting Shot, Slowking to teleport, Zeraora Volt Switch, Noivern U-turn, Zapdos U-turn. Like it's pretty good overall.
I think you just need to like run offense and kill them before they can do anything to you.
Yeah, I think
Long
if
term, you won't be winning long games with it.
if this game gets to like 40 turns, I think you're probably gonna lose. Maybe a little later than that, but if you come up like against the JCap stall, it's over for you.
It's over.
It's
There's
over.
No hope.
There's no hope against the JCap stall. Okay,
The JCap's on me attack.
I think I'll go to number 11 now. Number 11, we have everybody's favorite poison, or no, not poison point. Quick Feet coach.
What? X poison point.
X poison point, X speed boost, X swarm coach, KHD, coach of the jersey not Pursuit, because Pursuit doesn't exist anymore. He has Celesteela, Tapu Fini, Cinderace, Nidoking, Terrakion, Uxie, Galarian Moltres, Lurantis, Licky Licky, Mega Manectric, and Pinsir.
Well, since I was in the server in which KHD had his build support, this team definitely could have been a lot better than it ended up being. I think the overall product is still usable. So, there you go. Big praise right there from this team. So what I like about this team, I think the team overall is like pretty well balanced. There's definitely some good offense in terms of like Cinderace, Terrakion, and Nidoking. Even Mega Manectric, I actually think is like pretty underrated. I think if you are able to get rid of the ground type, it can definitely like, come in and come out pretty like easily. And I think this team has like decent ways of like dealing with ground types as well. Yeah, it's not really weak to ground types whatsoever, really. My main issue with this team comes mainly from the bulk and the fact that most of them kind of don't really have any sort of self-sustain outside of like lefties, Celesteela Leech Seeds, and mostly from a Licky Wish passing.
At least he has a Wish Passer, because this team would be probably a lot lower if it didn't have a Wish Passer.
He didn't, and if he didn't have a Wish Passer, this team was falling, just going well much lower.
You might have been next to Lucas B.
Perhaps.
I think below Lucas B.
We'll see. But yeah, I think being reliant on Licky definitely can be abused. Like Licky's a really good mon. I'm a huge fan of that mon. But if people keep in mind the fact that if you like knock off stuff like Celesteela, Finny, like you see in certain matchups, like it doesn't always run lefties, but knocking off those mons, that can be pretty big.
At least he has a Terrakion to take advantage of the knockoffs.
It can, but then like he's forced into like that mind game of whether it's gonna click knockoff. Like that really does more than come down to like what the situation is. But yeah, he doesn't have. It's not like he doesn't have knockoff switch-ins. But a lot of these mons don't like being knocked. Is the bigger thing.
Yeah.
I would say his speed is around 100. I think you should get something around there, because otherwise you're dropping from Terrakion all the way to
Fini, Moltres.
Well, it's Uxie, but Uxie doesn't really.
Uxie doesn't count. I do think you need an 100, because otherwise that's such a common tier.
Yeah, I could see that.
Also, Moltres is the psychic type checker again.
Yeah.
It's the only way you can really break bulky psychics, which are probably coming. So you've got Terrakion, and some can check Nidoking as well. So.
I think this team is pretty weak to ice types as well.
It's another team that loses to Kira.
Yeah, I think even like some like offensive waters can pressure this team a bit as well.
Yeah,
I think Lorantis, he could get a lot of value out of that. That's actually one of the mons which does actually get recovery on this team. And I think if he is able, I know Agronauts and Slap are not huge fans of Lorantis, but I do think that mon could be of like decent use for this team.
I mean,
And and Finley are the only removers on this team, but they're both weak to poison, so that's something to keep in mind as well.
I mean, KHD has he did well with his low tier picks. I know he didn't pick them, so Satan has did well with the low tier picks.
I kind of feel like the pincer. I'm more actually that big. I don't think the pincer does a ton for this team.
Not necessarily the pincer, but like Lorantis, Licky Licky, Mega Main. They're all like they all work with the team.
Yeah.
Which is not something you can say about all low tier picks.
I think pincer for 3 points should be changed because it's not doing anything. You can definitely get value out of 3 points. I think.
It is a rocker Aggronauts.
I just make it another water type, personally.
Yeah.
But, well, I mean, it's not a huge deal. I also think his removals also maybe a bit weak to spikes, but overall, this seems fine. Yeah,
It's
not bad.
Decent.
Yeah, the thing is, KG just kind of needs to not play stupidly with it, and then he can get wins. So KHD, you know, this is your season, okay? Remember, do not click. You should click U-turn on your Cinder race. Don't click Fireball.
Don't click Fireball.
And you will win. I believe you. This is hot dog season.
It's hot dog season. He's going 6-4.
Let's go. All right.
Number 10, Mr. Sip, coach of the Boise State Blastoise, with the Mega Scizor, Lando T, Gren, Thundy T, Comfy, the all broken Reuniclus, Snorlax, Weezing, Ursaring, Grottle, and Empoleon.
Man, I really didn't know we're doing multi-gen with Gen 7 this.
He's laughing in Gen 7.
I would love to see a singular fire resist on this team.
Oh, I mean, that is the big fat Snorlax.
There's a whole Snorlax sat right there.
There's a whole Snorlax that can just be toxic, then is no longer a fire resist. He is no longer a fire resist anymore.
Yeah, the fire resist definitely is a bit lacking on this team. The only other one being Greninja,
which is not a switch.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. You usually see a lot of fire resist from Mega Sizzle. This might be the first one where I've seen hardly any with Mega Sizzle.
You'd also like to see a bit of a water resist. The Empoleon being like the only, Empoleon, Grottle, Gren being like the only water resist.
I can see that. Empoleon's also the only rock resist on this team.
He's got the starter core for the water resist. Just realized.
Yeah. Oh, actually, no. We both forgot to mention he has a Chimchar on this team.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, for some reason people forgot to mention it. Yeah, Chimchar's a fire resist, okay.
Yeah,
true. So yeah, there you go. He has the whole Sinnoh core. So yeah, I think we can actually move this team to number 1 now.
True.
I think all
the balls to draft the starter core is crazy.
Yeah. And I think the only other thing I will say on this team is I think maybe you could use another fast one. Ghost Greninja, then Thundy T. With them maybe like something in between those. That would be nice. But
I just want to say, like, this has nothing to do with the PR video, but there is currently an Almighty Arceus mix that is full dubstep. This does not sound anything like Pokemon. This is.
I mean, you could skip it if you want.
Nah, it can stay.
Epic. Well, Peyton, I hope you enjoy your dubstep.
I hope you enjoy your dubstep with your team review. I mean, Ursaring's nice. Ursaring's a good low tier pick.
Ursaring's nice. I mean, I know some people said, some people said that he doesn't pressure steel type super well. I do kind of agree with outside of Landorus, but the great thing about Ursaring is it does force those steel types to come in, and they will take like a huge amount of chip from stuff like Facades.
Scizor
can
click super power.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
So, actually, I'm more against the Ursaring pick. That can come in.
I think the flying steals are going to be a bit of a problem, even though he has Thunderous. I think the fact his only one mon to deal with them is Thunderous. If that thing gets toxic by like a Celesteela, or I know Corviknight doesn't get toxic, like a Skarm, I think there's a high chance he doesn't win that game.
Yeah, well, but I mean, unless he brings his Chimchar back.
Oh, true.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the lot of these ones. Like, Mega
Like the
Sizzle,
Volts-
Lando
Volts
T,
are
Gren,
offensive, yeah.
solid offensively. Even Fundy, I think Fundy T's very good this gen.
I think Comfy's just an overall like it's a
Comfy's
decent mon, but I think it went
fine.
early. You probably
I
could have
mean,
waited.
I think people overrate Comfy because it's like
It's okay.
It fills a lot of roles. I don't know. I mean, does he necessarily need those roles on this team?
I mean,
maybe
he kind of wants the
about
dragon
that.
switch in, a good better because like
I mean, yeah, I'm just saying like because he got another fairy.
yeah, he probably
maybe
could have.
went on it, but I mean, he got like Renokus and Snorlax are good values for like for how late he got them.
I'm telling you, you could win
Let's
half
go,
the
like,
games with Reuniclus alone. You don't even need to bring
Yeah.
out any other 6. Just bring the Reuniclus.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
Renokus.
this team offensively it's pretty great with your Volt turn, and defensively it's definitely got decent enough cores.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. Like this team all in all, like there isn't too much really bad to say about it.
I'll just say one other thing is his only rock resist is Mr. Empoleon.
Oh yes,
So,
he's
We were discussing what he could change Empoleon for something else, but he really does need the rock resist.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when Empoleon is objectively bad on this team and is still needed.
yeah. That's what happens when you drop Mega Sizzle Lando T, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes.
But I mean, he still he
Otherwise,
isn't
like a
weak to
dragon.
all. He isn't weak to all the rock types.
Only some of them.
But that could be annoying. Like rock coverage is just kind of, it's just kind of free to click.
You can click edge at any point versus this team and you'll be in a good position, no matter what he goes into.
Well, again, it depends on what's clicking it, but yeah, it is kind of not a huge drawback. Clicking.
Okay.
So, otherwise, I would have drafted. You can just draft a dragon, and I think a dragon rounds out the team quite nicely. But not many
Flygon.
dragons that resist ground for 10 points.
Yeah, Flygon.
Flygon, yes!
Just a Flygon.
I love losing to ice types.
Yo.
Okay, number
I
9.
actually- he also got Empoleon for another rocker. I know Grottel's there, but
Yeah.
Lando is your only main rocker, and then Empoleon when he's.
I think
down.
Lando and Poleon's fine enough. Like
You can
they
get away with
synergize
it.
decently well too. Yeah.
I mean, if you're bringing Empoleon, he's gonna have rocks on him anyway. So.
Yeah.
No, at number 9, we have J Caps. Big J Caps. Coach of the New York Island. That's literally not even a unique name, J Caps. That team has a copyright, you know?
Yeah. Whoa. Jacob's finally got sued.
He's got Mega Diancie, Rillaboom, Pex, Rotom Heat, Dragonite, Alolan Persian, Clefairy, Jirachi, Porygon, Diggersby. Why not?
I feel kind of disappointed here because this team could have been so much better than it is. This team had potential, and then JCaps just went and decided to JCaps it.
The last
So-
3 months, just a complete waste of points. None of those mods actually help you.
I think half of this team just like they synergize really well together, like both defensively and offensively. Like Mega Dante, Rillaboom,
Jirachi.
Toxapex, yeah, Jirachi, Rotom Heat, Dragonite. I think these mons together are just a really good basis. Like you could bring those 6 most weeks, and you can definitely get a lot out of it. I think like I'll get the main issue out of the way, and that is the speed. Now,
Oh, Lord.
yes, there is an Alolan Persian, which is 115. The problem with Alolan Persian, it doesn't really have enough initial offensive pressure, and that's not exactly ideal in terms of it being like one of your fast mods, because that means it's going to be struggle to essentially revenge a lot of things, which is the main reason you get fast mons essentially. Like, yes, the speed tier is nice, like it can like come in, like pivot out, whatever. Like, it's not necessarily bad, but you want something else that's kind of fast with it. And then Mega Diancie, like that's a fast mon, but because it's a Mega, you can't run like Scarf, for example. And then I guess like his next best Scarf, but like Scarf Jirachi's
There's
fine.
only one good Scarfer on this team, and it's Jirachi.
Yeah, it is Jirachi. Yep. I think his removal options are okay. Both of them are weak to rocks and knock. Well, knock because of potential boots. I think him having another defogger could like potentially be kind of nice, or like another way of removal would be a bit helpful.
The triple of Iolite kind of reinforces the need for knock against this team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, for sure.
And
I mean,
chipping Diancie as well is good.
He does have Toxapex, and even like Diancie non-mega can switch into Nog pretty easily. So like he has good switch-ins. It's just that a lot of these mons, even though Persians are decent Nog switching, but a lot of these mons like do like not appreciate being knocked off. So that is something that you have to like consider. I think I would have liked a fighting type as well. Just having like another way to break steel types, I think would be nice. Because I think a lot of these mons would appreciate steel types just being like pressured. And just having another fighting type would be kind of nice. Yeah, I'm really not a fan of the Diggersby in them. I don't mind Porygon as like a.
If that Diggersby was a fighting type, this team would have been, I think, a lot better. You could trade up Wynon.
If you convert them into like a ground, you know, like fighting, and one of them's kind of fast, that's fine. I mean, he did make a trade. He dropped the bottom 3.
He's got a Mud still now.
He's got Mudstill and
doesn't help.
Taurus.
That surprisingly doesn't help at all.
The Taurus helps, I'd say.
It gives it speed, but like he still didn't get like a fighting type. He didn't need a ground type, I don't think.
I think you always need a ground type.
And obviously to take the electric hits, because otherwise it's just Mr. Rotom.
Oh yeah, electric is another
That is
problem.
less than ideal.
I mean, Rillaboom takes electric hits.
I would say that the Jirachi pickup was very good for his team.
Yes.
Yeah, Jirachi fills a whole load of roles. I think it's like
a lot of the team.
Yeah, it does for sure.
If you're not, defensively at least, it's pulling this team together. Because otherwise, there are a few holes.
Yeah, I think maybe another special like instant breaker would be nice. It's like Mega Diancie, and that's kind of it. I mean, you can run like special Dragonite, special Jirachi, but those things aren't necessarily instant breakers. Yeah, I think the only other thing I can think of is that there's a bit of a gap between Diggersby and Porygon.
Huh?
And the speed.
Oh
yeah, and the speed
between Porygon and Diggersby.
78 to 40. So stuff like base 60s and like base 50s can kind of abuse that.
Oh, I didn't realize they were even close in speed, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to move to number 8 now?
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay, at number 8 we have Palkia, coach of the London Lanterns, with another Mega Diancie, and Zapdos. Somehow he got both of them. Necrozma, Kartana, Rapid Shifu, Talonflame, Copperajah, Skuntank, Gastrodon, Tangela, Volbeat.
Skuntank only Ghost Resist. Let's fucking go.
You imagine coming to a game and your Ghost Resist is a skunk. It's just one skunk.
Yeah.
The skunk with no recovery.
It kind of smells. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, it kind of smells. Yeah, I actually don't have a ton to say because I think this team is like, I think this team's like fine.
It's just
I like the first couple of picks. I think Diancie, Zapdos, the Necrozma, Kartana, Shifu, Rapid. Those mons are going to be pretty annoying to deal with together.
the rockers are relatively lackluster. I guess that's one thing we can touch on. Because like you don't want to force Necrozma to run rocks. You don't want to force Diancie to run rocks.
Yeah. I mean they can be in certain matchups, and obviously Mr. Copperajah.
Agent Raj. Agent Raj.
He can do some bits.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously because the skunk, he's the only dark type, so Reuniclus, if he ever comes, he'll have another field day against this team.
Yeah. Reuniclus is eating.
Now the AV skunk tank, how does it win?
The way there's very few ways to actually like beat psychic types with this team.
No, it can't run hidden power ground for the skunk tank, therefore it's doomed.
No.
No hope.
No.
But focus pulse always misses, so.
Focus miss. No.
But yeah, what's I say? I think the momentum could be a bit better as well. Like Zapdos, it's already going to be a bit pressured maybe to run defog, because some of the other defogers are mons which don't come to every game. I guess Talonflame's fine. For the next set, maybe.
This gen Talonflame can run defog
sure,
pretty freely.
Yeah. But then like Zapdos is like one of his main ways to get momentum, actually, along with Talonflame and I mean I guess
Shifu.
Volbeat
Shifu.
and Shifu. Yep. But I think running like a momentum Zapdos actually does help this team a lot. In terms of bringing stuff like Kartana and Mega Diancie in for free, which that's kind of hard to bring them in hard.
Yeah.
Maybe some of his more offensive threats, some of his other offensive threats like Necrozma and Urshifu, those can come in kind of easily. But I think Kartana and Mega Diancie do kind of just need some sort of pivot to get them in. But yeah, I think this team's alright. I do like the offense on this team. Defensively, I'm a bit mixed about it, but you know.
The thing is, you can bring top 5 to almost every game, and then interchangeably bring the next 6, and you'll probably be fine.
The
Except for
offense is probably
Volbeat.
too much for a lot of drafts. I think you can probably get away with it. You just have to.
Yeah, like I think
Definitely.
Zapdos and Necrozma, they can also be run bulky as well. So, I mean, it depends on like those two in terms of how well Palkia does.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, number 7. Brother Quang, the coach of the Quang's Mauled Squad, with Tornti, Galarian Slowking, Megazard X, Buzzwole, Primarina, Registeel, Donphan, Alolan Persian, Decidueye, and Rotom.
Wait, you just say Quang's Mold Squad. Did he just change his name and just not give us a new? Not got a new logo?
I think he does have a new logo.
Oh, Agronauts.
I didn't realize you put the wrong one on.
Oh, I don't think I have his new logo. Where's his new? Pull it on right now.
He's DM'd it to me, I think.
Okay, put it on.
Whilst Agronauts is putting it on, brother, I'd like to mention the fact that I had you higher, but both Agronauts and Slap hate your team.
Yeah, this team
Slap,
kind of sucks.
Why do you hate this team?
I just don't like the basic bitch core of Galarian Slowking and
I put his
Tornti.
logo on. I'm not sure if it's.
It's so brainless.
So basically, because he drafted a brainless combination, that equals bad.
Also,
I understand.
I don't think Megazard X is gonna do that much on this team. It's just also the Ghost Resist only being Alolan Persian and having 3 Ghost weaknesses kind of is a huge problem.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll agree with the Ghost weeks thing. I think Brother Quang definitely should call Ghostbusters because his Ghost Resist certainly aren't it.
Something like a Gengar having like Donphan being weaker, especially Buzzwole being weaker, especially defensive. I think something like a Gengar is gonna eat this team alive.
Well, he did pick up a Kangaskhan.
Oh,
and
free.
More importantly, an Amolga.
Free.
So,
Oh, Omoga's broken. You know it's better than
all this
Zapdos.
said-
Better than
Yeah,
Zapdos.
I would have liked a proper electric type.
True.
I mean,
Like
Amolga's not it's not the worst one in the world. I guess that does kind of make him pretty ice weak, I'd say. But you know.
His hazards are decent. He's got two rockers.
Both
three
his
removers.
mons can like run rocks fair enough. Yeah, it's removers. As whole
4
Zard.
removers.
I disagree. I think Zardex is fine. I think he kind of needed that kind of like breaker, like set up breaker, and like it fulfills that role like well enough, I'd say.
I think it's fine, but it's not. It won't be used to its full potential, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can
my
kind of see
opinion.
that. Like the number of fast scarfers he has isn't particularly great, and the thing is, Zard X forces a lot of like these faster scarfed mons. And the mons above Zard X are Alolan Persian, in which I don't know whether
Tornti.
he's taken advice from JCats regards to lapping at speed, and then Tornti, which you don't really want to run scarfed.
I love my Scarf Torntis. That brings me back to Gen 7 when Scarf Tornti was actually viable.
Yeah, I mean his best scarfers are like Buzzwole and Primarina, which are
He's got some slow Scarfers.
Yeah, that's not exactly ideal. I think as well, there's no real cleric in terms of like heal bell, I don't think, or
Toxic
therapy,
is running free on your squad.
Yeah, Toxic and like I think Tio is a big one. Like T-waving Torn, T-waving Zardex, that's pretty big. So yeah, I can see that being.
We've talked very negatively, but this team still is one of the better teams that's been drafted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is
Well,
also like maybe 5 types.
You can easily be carried by. You can be carried by your regen core and Mega Zard being played well, and Buzzwole and Primarina are great ones too. So it won't be a team that struggles often, but
Just watch out for the ghost types.
Yeah, they're very spooky.
Spoopy indeed.
I think his removal as well. It's like, a lot of these mons don't really like running removal, but I think he might have enough removal to where it's not really an issue.
See, if Donphan comes to a game though, it's running Rapid Spin Rocks no matter what, right?
Potentially, yeah. But I mean, he can run some. Donphan has some like decent coverage as well. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think this team's like, it's decent, you know. Aggro and Slap don't seem to like it, but you know what, Brother Quang, I'm on your side.
Did you fix the logo? Oh, thank you.
I haven't even seen.
Oh my god, that logo's god tier.
I need to see this new logo.
It's on the presentation.
I need to save it as well because I do not have a
I'll
logo
send
saved.
it to you.
Send it over.
Okay, now that you all have seen Quang's new logo, we're going to number 6. Dasa,
that
the
is,
GOAT.
That is a pretty
The
epic
GOAT.
logo.
Coach of the coping coping copperages. He's got a Lando Eye, Zero Aura, Slowbro, Registeel, Blacephalon, Togekiss, Drapion, Munchlax, Eldegoss, Rapid Shifu. This team's first 3 picks are just amazing. With the Lando, the Zera, the Slowbro, everything's got the momentum. You don't really want to click momentum with Landorus, but being able to Volt Switch into Landorus or just teleport into Landorus is great. My biggest issue with this team is the hazards. Your 2 removers being, well, I guess does Landorus Eye get? Yeah, it gets defog.
Yeah, it does.
You're not running defog on Landorus Eye, so I'm not even gonna count that. Your removers being Togekiss and Eldegoss is pretty poor, and your setters being Registeel and Landorus. Although Registeel's a good setter, you don't want to bring it to every game.
Yeah, I think having Lando being kind of pressured into like a potential hazard role isn't ideal to say, especially like when all of his removers just like get completely screwed over by ice types. I think those are like his only like ground resist as well. So Big Mama Swine, that's kind of a threat for this team.
But there's a Slowbro.
There is a Slowbro. Yeah, I think Slowbro is basically going to be pressured into being like kind of like the ground check for this team, really.
Yeah.
I think like this team just feels like some weird J-Caps team.
It does actually.
Got the Slowbro. This is enough to make J-Caps nuts. That's for sure.
True.
But yeah, I think I do like the offense. I like Lando, Zera, Blacephalon, Shifu Rapid. I can definitely see that working out pretty solidly. I will also say the other thing is I mean he doesn't have a Mega, so that does make things interesting, especially in terms of like knockoff. Yes, he has
knockoff switchings are dire.
Yes, he has like Drapion, but outside of that, like Shifu Rapid, if that thing is
it's too weak without an item.
Yeah, that's the other thing. But if it's pads, then Helmet, Yum Yum. And if it's banded, then you're losing a lot of power as well. Stuff like Zero losing boots, Lando losing life orb, Registeel losing like lefties, Togekiss losing left boots, Munchlax losing Eviolites. Like these things are going to be kind of annoying. But I mean, it's not the worst weaknesses in the world. Like I think overall this team's like pretty. It's got like I think it's solid enough offensively and defensive to where it can work. But I think he made some transactions. I think he tried to fit the G King in. I'm not sure if I'm a huge fan of how that leads his team.
Did he drop Slowbro? Isn't that some sort of clause?
I think they share different dex numbers, so I think that's actually okay.
Okay.
Let's see what he did. So he dropped Drapion, Eldegoss, Togekiss, and Munchlax. He picked up Mega Ordino, Thwacky, Honchkrow, and a G King.
Okay.
Interesting.
I mean, they're definitely interesting pickups. I mean, I've seen Mega Ordino work before. I think Thwacky's a decent, like, low-tier grass type.
Biggest problem
Honchkrow is a mon.
Biggest problem with Mega Ordinos, you never want to.
I've just realized his removal now consists of Honchkrow, Lando Eye.
Interesting.
That's good.
You're just hoping to out offense at that point. Then you're not even trying to play a long game.
Yep. And then well, it's all that just to get the G King, you know. But we'll see how that does.
The double psychic core. Let's go.
Yo.
Okay.
Ability takes lives.
Number 5 is iPanda, coach of the Liverpool Firebird Club, with Mega Gallade, Lando T, Rotom Wash, Scizor, Comfy, Deoxys Defense, Audino, Sneasel, Alolan Muck, and Chandelure.
Another Gen 7 Larper.
He's laughing at
Another round 5 Comfy, by the way. Quick Feet is in love with their round 5 Comfies.
One of these goons doing Comfy's not even that good. Okay, so I didn't know. I didn't think there would be a world where someone would only have one water resist. Yeah, here we are living in it. Actually, being the only water resist on this
Agent
team.
Leon would feast.
I actually didn't even notice that until
I also didn't notice that.
Yeah, I don't think we noticed that when we were looking at that initially. But
Oh
that is
no!
the,
Oh,
two
no.
waters. And actually, what's his other flying resist?
Oh no!
Oh no, we put this too high. You put this too high.
To be discovered.
Put we gotta put Brother going
You're
back down.
You're the new number 24. I'm sorry, pal. Yeah, and like Rotom Wash just has to fill so many roles. Only just that, it's also the mon.
Hey, he's got a
like...
Deoxys defense. He's fine. Blanket check.
Oh, true. I mean, he has good Bagel J and Deoxys defense in the Audino, but that is still gonna be pretty annoying. But the main thing as well, probably the bigger thing in fact, is that it's its only real way of beating like water types. And yes, Rotom Wash is a very good way of beating like fat waters, but
Rotom Wash also has to
grass type
mainly
would be
deal
kinda
with
nice.
fire types because like Chandelure isn't coming to all games.
When you draft a grass type, that does give you another water resist, so that's something to consider.
I thought that I don't like Sneasel too much in this team, so I was gonna say get a offensive grass over Sneasel.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I think he drafted Sneasel because he has
Just
like
for
no
the
speed.
here, but...
Bro,
Man, we did put
Gamma
this team too
Sceptile.
high.
Yeah,
We put
Gamma
this team
Sceptile.
way too high.
Get Sceptile on here. That's a good
Bro,
idea.
this seems like number 1 according to Santon, so there you go.
Oh, Sunny's stupid, so.
Yeah, I think
around the Gallade world though. Like Psychic pressured loads. You got Scizor, Chandelure.
Yeah, the double
Lando,
dark
Boots,
works for the psychic pressure.
no, I do agree with that. Yeah, that's kind of why I think Caesar's okay because he has a little muck with it too. I'd say Chandelure's like the only real instant special offensive pressure as well, which isn't
Specs, Rotom
super
Wash, IMO.
But Rotom Wash is too busy like trying to do a trillion other things. It's on this team. Yeah, maybe something else that's fast would be nice because like it goes Sneasel, which we said is like it's not the greatest mon. I don't think it's a terrible mon, but it's not super ideal. Mega Gallade, which is like that's a mega, and then it goes down to Comfy, which isn't really a speed tier, and then you go down to Lando, so that's just kind of iffy on his higher speed mons. And I think the other thing with this team is that I think you kind of know what a lot of these mons are gonna do, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, yes, Rotom Wash, like stuff like Rotom Wash and Lando can be like, can be versatile and like the stuff they bring.
Wait,
where's this team,
where's
I
the
feel like it's...
rock resist?
Oh,
Gallade,
Mega Gallade, and that's it.
This team has so many
Bro,
weaknesses.
this is the new number 20. Can you added that to number 20? This is the new number 20.
Move J Caps up. Move J Caps up.
J Caps, he's moving up. He's moving up. Everyone else gets. Hey Panda, you're officially the new number 24. I'm sorry. How could we miss out all these things?
How did we miss all these things when we were looking at it?
Terrible team.
I think we got tired
I
at
don't
this
want to
point.
look at this team anymore.
Yeah, okay. At number 4, we have literally the best player in Quick Feet. Here we stand. Coach of the Dragonstone Diagonals. I'm not sure why there's an Age Slash on that. It's okay. Victini, Mega Scizor, Kyurem, Zarude, Swampert, Arrow, Weezinglar, Raikou, Rodriguez, and Poliwrath.
I would like to preface this before anyone speaks that if Poliwrath is not brought to at least one game, here we stand, you will be purged from the DGBA.
He's serious.
Yeah,
by
I
the
think
way.
that's
He's serious.
And that's...
Yo, Agronauts, I've heard you're gonna miss karaoke tomorrow. So can you sing Ghostbusters for me? Because Zarude is the only Ghostbusters on this team. Go on.
Gengar's eating
speak
right
it.
now.
I
Gengar is
forgot how it
eating.
starts. When there's something strange, your neighborhood. Who you gonna call? Zarude.
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
yay.
which is
yeah.
literally just a root on this team. Please get a normal type. I'm. I don't really know what the Runerigus even does. I know people are gonna go to the Poliwrath. I think Poliwrath actually kind of helps with all the stuff he's kind of weak to.
Water
So
immunity is
I
very
actually
good for
don't
this
have a
team.
huge- Yeah, like especially when Swampert's like the other water type. I actually think like that's completely fine. Some of my Scalds can be kind of annoying to deal with outside of like maybe the Kyurem.
I like the Victini Raikou Kyurem core, honestly.
Yeah, no. He has good speed as well. Like Arrow, Raikou, Zarude, into Victini. Like
That hits like all
that's
the
pretty
speed
solid
tiers.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only other criticism I really have is a lot of these defensive mons, but the Mega Sizzle, and I don't know if you want to count Kyurem or Zarude. I think those two are might be more part of his offense rather than his defense.
Yeah.
But a lot of his defense does kind of just get chipped down, because they don't really have like great recovery. So that's another thing.
The thing is, he does have a lot of mons that can be both. Like Arrow
Yeah, he
can be
does.
Spadef if it needs. Raikou can be a flying switch and if it needs. Zarude can be defensive. Scizor.
Yeah, it can definitely be versatile with this team.
Yeah. Okay, I guess we're gonna move on to number 3.
Yeah,
But
that was pretty
before we
quick.
move
Wow.
We're speed running now. Sorry, here we stand.
Before we move on, we don't actually have a slide for number 3.
Did we not? Did we forget?
Oh my god. Who was number 3?
Sun. No, bro. I never remember putting his logo on.
I remember
Oh,
putting
yeah.
his screenshotting his team. Okay, wait. I don't even know if I have the doc open.
Oh, we've ruined this now. We
I'll press
fucked it
Control
up.
Z. Maybe I deleted it. I'll press Control Z.
Control Z. Fix it.
Oh, he's
Oh
back.
my god, he did!
Yeah,
He did!
Not. Oh my god. He's actually sabotaging. He's sabotaging. It's crazy.
He's returned.
I apologize. We didn't reveal number 2, right?
Oh,
Next
I
time
totally
we-
revealed number 2.
No.
Oh, you know, okay.
That's
Alright,
Agronauts' fault. Because I went to go click onto it and then he said, yeah, we're... we haven't...
I don't know where it went.
Forgot. You
Alright,
deleted it!
Anyway, so the team is Mega Morwar, Zapdos, Necrozma, Infernape, Noivern, Vaporeon, Roselia, Bramble, Porygon 2, and Crocodile. Aggro, since you deleted the slide, maybe you can redeem yourself by starting off with a Sun team.
Okay. So to start off, this team's number 3 because it's actually pretty decent. It's got. I really do like the Crocodile at the very end. I think that's brought the team nicely together.
This sounds like a cooking show.
What?
Like, no, it's brought it nicely together at the end with the crocodile. Continue, Agronauts. Continue.
I think he's got very nice momentum for Mega Morwar. So he's got Zapdos, Ape, Noivern, Vaporeon, Porygon. All these Pokemon can bring in, some of them slow momentum into Morwar, which is a great breaker, obviously. There's no secondary steel, but there is a secondary fairy in Granbull. I don't think you need a secondary steel because the rest of the team kind of covers that typing, the resistances. Granbull, I'm not sure, as a fairy, is great with Morwar because it's kind of does the same thing that a Morwar does physically, being a
Yeah, I think because of the Intimidate spam, I think the main reason you get Granbull is because it's a really good offensive fairy for the price. Because like bulk-wise, I think it just relies on the Intimidate basically.
Yeah.
I mean, it does have an Intimidate core similar to the other Mega Morwar team. I don't know if that's some weird.
There's
theme
triple
going on.
Intimidate on this. Pre-Mega
Yeah, there's
Mega
triple
Mawa.
Intimidate on the Fistula Doom team as well.
Crocodile
I think.
too.
Oh, is there really?
Yeah, I think that he has like Incineroar and something else.
Incineroar,
That's-
Granbull, and I will figure it out after.
He's got
Yeah,
Morwar as well, obviously.
But
Mega Evolves.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Both
yeah,
Mega
yeah, exactly.
both Mega Maw teams have Granbull. Or am I
No,
joking?
he has a Valley Fairy, is it?
Oh,
But
yes,
yeah, I
yes,
think
yes.
maybe it could have been a better fairy, but I mean, at the same time, I don't think getting another fairy is a huge priority. I think maybe just wanted it to go
He's-
to other mons.
He's
which is
got
fine.
fighting resist, which kind of help, and then you have the blanket check Porygon 2 right next to the Granbull.
Yeah.
I think
So
you need the fairy only for dragons, really. Like the other resistance
Yeah.
the fairy gives you aren't
Yeah.
needed.
yeah.
I think the other criticisms I'd have is that I'd say it seems a bit ice weak as well.
Kyurem
Like,
is
it's
eating.
like- it's like Vaporeon and a Mega Mawile. You don't really want to switch into heads, and Inferno, you definitely don't want to do that. Or you don't really want to do it often, rather. And I guess some of the other thing is that I mean, Zapdos is a very very good remover, but it does shout off similar weaknesses on Noivern. So I think that can be abused, especially if you're able to knock like boots off either of them. That can be kind of a problem. But overall, I do like this team a lot. This team is probably my favorite team. But Slap has very high expectations for the Mega Mawile. And if you don't draft a Victini in it,
If there's no Victini, it's not a good team.
yeah, exactly. So unlucky, sometimes.
Unlucky, buddy. Unlucky. Maybe next season. Okay, at number 2, we have the GOAT, Leaf, coach of the Quebec Quillfish, with the Urshifu single, Clefable, round 3 Latios. What are you guys doing in Quick Feet? Letting him get round 3 Latios, and then round 4 Scizor, Swampert, Aerodactyl, Magnezone, Porygon, Roserade, Mega Camel, and Huntail.
Well, you can guess who really likes this team.
Yes, when I first saw this team, I was not immediately in love, but after has lectured me in the fine fencing of Pokemon, I finally understood how good this team is and worthy of the 2 position. For example, initially I thought Mega Camerupt, what is this Pokemon doing on this team? However, as told me, what does Scizor and Swampert let in? Grass types and the steel types. And what does Camerupt do? It kills them. So after I heard that anecdote, team immediately shut up on my rankings, and that's why this is at number 2.
And what needs steel types gone?
Even
Latios.
like the Clefable as well. Even like the Clefable can teleport on like an incoming fire or poison or steel type. Mr. Camel, he comes in.
It's just impeccable. Every Pokemon you look at, it all synergizes with Mega Camel. It's amazing.
Yeah, this is the ultimate Mega Camel team. Yeah, this team, like offensively, I think this is probably the best team in the league.
Oh, absolutely.
A Shifu like Latios, like that's incredibly scary, especially when you pair it with like Clefable. Clefable even offensively can be like really good if you're on like a Magic guard life upset. Whether you will be able to or not, I'll get into that in a bit. And then there's other like good threats like Scizor, Swampert are really good momentum mons for this. Aerodactyl gives him speed and a flying resist, which he seemed to forget week 1. Magnezone's a really interesting one. Magnezone, it looks kind of weird when you initially look at it, but I think the number one thing is that stuff like Clef, Latios, and Sizzle don't really appreciate steel types. And yes, that isn't Urshifu, but you want to click the dark move on Urshifu. So having that being the main way to deal with like steel types isn't the most ideal of things. So having Magnezone to trap them is really nice. And Magnezone as well also like pressures like Fairy types a bit more. You have Sizzle, Magnezone, Roserade, all of which create a lot of offensive pressure. Roserade's also able to click like spikes and T-spikes, which is really nice for this team, especially if it wants to be a bit more offensive. Agronauts beautifully explains the Mega Camerupt, and Huntail, Huntail's a mon.
I just want to say, most of what we talked about had nothing to do with the Urshifu. This team is broken without the Urshifu, and it has an Urshifu.
Yeah, it has an Urshifu on it, exactly, yeah. I think the big problem with this team is that when you deal with a team with a lot of like wall breaking potential, this team kind of falls flat in the sense that yes, Clefable is bulky, but it's not like a super like it's not like it
Spit it out has
certain hits.
There you go.
And it can be overwhelmed. Like Swampert, like that thing can get chipped down easily. I think Clefable, whilst I said earlier it can be offensive, I think on this team it's just kind of going to be forced into like maybe with like a Wish Theodore Manny set or something.
Oh, big
a lot
Theo.
of matchups in order to sustain some of his like more defensive mons. Unless he just wants to basically run some HO, in which case, I mean, he has the tools.
He's good. He would win most HO matches. I think almost every HO match, assuming he plays it right, he's gonna win.
Except against Fist Doom.
Except against Fist Doom.
He's not winning that one.
Flying resist.
I think the main flaw is trapping them all and then not killing it with Magnezone.
Oh,
Yeah.
he just didn't bring the Magnus in that
Oh, he
matchup.
didn't bring Magnezone, did he? Yeah, so
Yeah.
if you have a rematch, I would bring Magnezone to kill Morwell.
Click Steel Beam.
Yep.
Steel Beam kills them all well.
But yeah, I think this will really come down to how well he's able to like get used to this team. I think this team does need to be played in a certain way, which is definitely a flaw of it. But like offensively, like this team's incredible.
But you need to pick the right six
but-
each.
but,
you won't get away with it. If you don't get the right
whilst this team would be kind of average on most other PRs, because of the incredible quality of all the other teams, it's number 2 for some god-forsaken reason.
You
I
guys.
say because Slap has a hard one for this team. But anyway,
Hey, whoa! This wasn't even my ranking.
no, you said to move Leaf up.
I said to move Leaf up
He
because
was like number 5 at one
yeah,
point.
yeah, and everything else you put above it was worse. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Put some
Slap's
respect on
favorite
Leaf's
team.
name.
Slap's
Put some
favorite
respect
team.
on Leaf's name.
All right.
Okay, number 1 is Sapphire, coach of the New Haven Greninjas. She's got Tapu Koko, Slowbro, Mega Chomp, Corvi, Gengar, Cheetar, Mienshao, Roselia, Cryogonal, Magmortar.
Slap, how do you feel that Sapphire's number 1? You seem very happy about this fact.
It is quite inclusive.
Well, I also want to bring up the fact that Slap kept begging that Sapphire got moved down. I was not number 1. Just want to put that out there.
What? No, I said she was like number 3 at one point, so I was like,
Slap's
you can
a
move her up,
bitch.
and then
Okay,
you put her up
Slap's
to
a
1.
Yeah, I agree.
Fuck Slap.
Aggronauts, you did nothing to help with these PRs, buddy.
What do you mean?
Okay, before this goes down in chaos, I'll quickly explain stuff I see. So this team is like, I think offensively this team's like really nice. Like the Coco, Mega Chomp, like T-Tar giving it stand to like Gengar. Like these are all like really like solid mobs. I think I know people are like kind of mixed on Gengar. I think Gengar's fine for this team specifically. I think it does help break down a lot of threats. I think it's like well supported enough. Oh, and I've even got the Mienshao. Jesus, it's so much breaking.
So much, very much broken.
I think defensively, this team, it's definitely is flawed. So number 1, I think T-Toss pressures do a bit. It's the only like ghost resist, and obviously it is weak to fighting types. But you know you have the Gengar, which is the ghost type with Focus Blast. So you know all is good. All is good. You don't even have to worry about it. Problem solved. What genius drafting.
I think the only issue with this team is having the Coco with electric terrain when your biggest walls are Slowbro and Corviknight.
Yeah. Like we saw week 1, the Coco having to be telepathy, so that Mega Medicham just wouldn't beat down on both mainly the Slowbro essentially. That's definitely like a big problem. Like defensively. I do think as well, like the removal's a bit iffy too. Coco, obviously, if you click remove all, you lose your terrain. Well, maybe you could argue that's a good thing in terms of some of his walls, but that just makes Coco a lot worse in terms of like breaking power.
I think Coco's just gonna be a pivot on this team, honestly.
Cryogonal isn't a mon, and yeah, Corviknight, yeah, you just want it to be more of a pivot, but it's gonna be the main way of defogging. But overall, I think her team's pretty solid, even if there's a cry. I can't believe you put a team with Kragan on number 1.
And Magmortar at that. And Magmortar.
I'm actually depressed. How has this even happened? What are we doing?
I'm gonna blame KHD and JCaps for this one.
Wait, does Magmortar get terrain pulse?
It should.
I don't think so.
I don't even know if it was in the game.
Terrain Pulse came out in Gen 7, didn't it?
Gen 8, isn't it?
No, it shouldn't.
Oh wait, I looked it up and I realized I was
Does
looking
not
at Gen
learn.
5.
Oh.
All right, okay, so all right, this is the new number 24. A Panda, A Panda can go to number 1. All right, there we go.
And also, the team is very colourful, which I appreciate.
Yeah, I also think the spikes icons gonna be kind of nice as well on this team. The Roselia, the Rockers I think are fine enough to yeah, just good team. Although there have been some changes to it actually. I nearly forgot to mention the Mien Chao, the Magmortar, and the Kraganaut got dropped.
Oh, God tier,
Which
God
is
tier,
absolute
God tier.
travesty. And then the Cinderace, the Hitmontop, and the Stoutland came in.
Young Stoutland.
The Stoutland's just there for
Stoutland
sand,
tier.
right?
Yeah, I guess it's another Ghost Resist. I have 3 points, so it's fine. Cinderace, it's maybe that service like another speed tier. I guess it kind of feels a similar thing to what Mien Chao was doing before.
I think Cinderace with the Chomp's very good.
And Hitmontop maybe for another remover. I guess I could argue it's slightly better than Kraganaut.
Slightly.
I don't know. I'll leave that to you. But you know,
I'm on the end screen now, so I don't know what this link is supposed to be.
I
it's a record.
I think there are a bunch of memes at the end screen, but I hope you enjoyed the video. Just remember that these are our opinions. You're very welcome to disagree with them. Very well to call us stupid.
Except for me, because that'd be bullying.
Oh yeah. Slabs and minus, you can't do that to him, but
Exactly.
you can do it to me and Aggronauts.
Exactly.
But you know.
Any problems, direct them to Chaz in his DMs. He was the one who ultimately made the list and has notes on every team. So please get in touch with him.
And reminder, Aggronauts is a pussy for deflecting all the blame away from him.
And also, if you have any problems, you can cry in the general chat in DGBA.
And also, I promised Ratataman that I'd say to subscribe to Parksy.
Oh, we didn't do it at the beginning. We should have said sub to Parksy while everyone was still here.
It's at
Nobody's
the
even
end.
watching anymore. It's just Sapphire.
Sapphire. Bro, she's definitely turned off by now. He moved her team to number 24. So...
Sunsun might be watching because he's upset he didn't get first.
Yeah, you're welcome, Sonny.
I'm sorry, Sunsun.
You know, Has had you ranked first.
Okay, alright.
We moved you down.
Should I do like a secret code at the end? And then if anyone's still watching, they can have a free month of Nitro. Whenever I can export the Nitro.
No.
Aggronauts, pick a code.
Okay, secret code is if you go into the DGBA general chat and type in something that Has will say.
Rice cakes are delicious. There you go.
Rice cakes are delicious. And ping slap with it.
Oh yes, please do.
If you do this.
Yeah, the first person that gets Nitro at some point.
From Has, not
Anyway.
from anybody else.
Anyway, any closing words from anyone else?
Quick feed is unviable. Oh my god.
I love quick feet.
Quick feed is so unviable.
Some of you could definitely improve on your drafts, but you know what?
You should all talk to Saint so we can all sabotage every draft.
Right, two of the Saint drafts are in the bottom 3, man.
That's what I'm saying. You can sabotage all the drafts.
Exactly. True. Yeah. Even though a lot of these teams aren't perfect, I think a lot of them can be improved with some slight changes. So hopefully that helps.
Nobody's perfect.
Except you, Aggronauts, you're perfect to me.
Oh, thank you so much.
Do you want to outro, Has, or you want to just end it?
Does A drive?
Alright, yeah. Can we do an A drive outro, please?
We're gonna be sitting here for another 5 minutes while Aggronauts skips to an outro.
We'll end it here. We're just beefing up the end.
Wait, relax.
Alright, okay. Let's hear it.
We're trying to get the ad rev.
Yeah, we're also waiting. Should we do a new code? Should we just do a new code? So the first one's a fake. I'll do a code as to praise Kwang's mold squad.
That's a terrible code.
If you at that and then you at slap with that and then followed with another at from slap, then you in fact get the 3 month of Nitro.
I think Has is backing up because he doesn't want to pay for Nitro right now.
No. I'm making a new code so you get ping some more.
Oh, thank you.
Aggronauts.
I've been pinged 4 times during this session.
Even this the runtime of this video, by the way.
We are at 1 hour 58 minutes and 48 seconds.
Oh my Aggronauts, we can't make this 2 hours. Come on, hurry up.
Come on, Aggronauts.
Hurry up.
Let's go, Aggronauts.
Hurry up, we can make this. That is fucking outro.
I'm ending it right there.